What's going on, everybody? My name is Corey, also known as that TCG guy on the internet. We're doing something a little different this Friday. This is not a Brewberg video, but this is a Oathbreaker deck tech video for one of my own personal Oathbreaker decks. I didn't have anybody for Brewberg last weekend. We took the weekend off. We actually built a deck ourselves on stream, but we'll see that one soon enough. But for now, I've been absolutely obsessed with Oathbreaker, and I really wanted to bring you this deck tech for a deck that I'm super excited to play. I've play tested it on Moxfield, and it's been super fun. It's very thematic. I wouldn't say that it is the most powerful Oathbreaker deck you're going to see in the world, but if you like pups and you like good old boys and girls, you're going to love this deck. So let's get into the video. Oathbreaker is a newly recognized format from Wizards of the Coast that is similar in many ways to Commander, with the biggest differences being that it's a 60-card singleton format instead of the normal 100, and your life total starts at 20 instead of 40. You have an Oathbreaker very similar to a Commander, though it has to be a Planeswalker, and they get themselves a signature spell, which has to be an instant or sorcery and can be cast multiple times from the command zone just by adding the 2-mana attacks like you would for your Commander. It's meant to be a faster format than Commander and has recently taken over the Magic community for good reason. Lots of players seem to be really enjoying this, and I am definitely one of them. I played this format when it first came out a couple years back, and I'm really glad that Wizards has decided to find this as a recognized format. All right, anyway, let's talk about the deck. If you're curious, yes, I did write out and script that whole little intro part about Oathbreaker. Something I'm not used to, but I want to try to up the quality of this. So if you enjoyed that little stuff, that little segment, let me know. But anyway, we're talking about Comet Stellar Pup. This is my Oathbreaker of choice. I have a few decks, but this one to me is probably the most fun one that I've built over the last few weeks. Like I said, it's not going to be the most powerful Oathbreaker deck. Like, you're not going to be able, I mean, you could sit with this in like a competitive scenario, but you know, this one, you're going to notice the theme here, and I'm going to, you know, give you little nods to the theme as we go along. But we're talking about Comet Stellar Pup. This is 2 red-white for a legendary Planeswalker, Comet. He has one single loyalty ability, which is 0, and it's roll a 6-sided die. If you get a 1 or 2, you +2 loyalty, then create 2 1/1 green squirrel creature tokens. They gain haste till end of turn, because pups always love to chase squirrels. If you get a 3, you -1, then return a card with mana value 2 or less from your graveyard to your hand. 4 or 5, Comet Stellar Pup deals damage equal to the number of loyalty counters on him to a creature or player, then you -2 loyalty. And then 6, +1 loyalty, you may activate Comet Stellar Pup's loyalty abilities 2 more times this turn. So basically you get 2 extra rolls to see what you can get. So this Oathbreaker doesn't really lend a whole lot to the theme of this deck, besides the fact that it's just a dog in space. The squirrels are a little bit thematic, you know, dogs like to chase squirrels. The -1 ability to return a mana value card with 2 or less from your graveyard to your hand will come into play, because a lot of our dogs and pups in the deck are mana value 2 or less. So a little bit of protection, I mean, not protection, but recursion, which is nice. And then dealing damage equal to the number of loyalty counters on him to a creature or player is just extra damage, which is great. And then being able to do his abilities multiple times is, you know, just icing on the cake. But really, the big thing is he's a puppy, and this is a puppy deck. So you know what? Let's talk about his signature spell here, which again is the theme, or rather is on theme, which is called Howl of the Horde, because pups like to howl at things, right? So Howl of the Horde is 2 and a red for a sorcery. When you cast your next instant or sorcery spell this turn, copy that spell. You may choose new targets for the copy. And then raid, if you attack with a creature this turn, when you cast your next instant or sorcery spell, you can copy it an additional time. So you get 2 copies if you attack, which we have plenty of creatures, so we should be attacking quite a bit. But again, it's called Howl of the Horde. It makes sense. It was fitting, right? Right? All right, let's talk about some of the good old pups that are going to be in the deck here. We're not going to go over every single one, but there's going to be a Moxfield deck list in the description below. So if you want to take a look at the full deck list, you by all means can do that. But first off, we're going to talk about Pack Leader, which is probably the best dog in the entire deck, I think. Pack Leader, 1 and a white. Creature dog for a 2/2. Other dogs you control get +1/+1, and whenever a Pack Leader attacks, prevent all combat damage that would be dealt this turn to dogs you control. So with Pack Leader out, you get an Anthem for your dogs. Also, when they attack, all your dogs basically become indestructible for combat damage, rather. It's definitely probably the best dog you can have here in the deck. Next, we have Loyal Warhound. This is 1 and a white for another creature dog, a 3/1 with Vigilance. When Loyal Warhound enters the battlefield, if an opponent controls more lands than you, search your library for a basic plains card, put it into the battlefield tapped, and then shuffle. This is good because we are in a color pairing that typically does not do great on mana fixing and mana ramp. So Loyal Warhound is going to not only be a dog for us, but also is going to potentially help us get an extra land onto the battlefield if we're finding that we are running a bit behind. Next up, we have Trusty Retriever. This is 3 and a white for a 2/3 dog. When Trusty Retriever enters the battlefield, choose one. Put a 1/1 counter on Trusty Retriever, or return an artifact or enchantment card from your graveyard to your hand. So this is going to either, get us a nice beefy pup, or is going to help get us some of our enchantments or artifacts that could be helping us ramp, or some of the enchantments here, again, on theme, but there are some good ones like Barbarian class that we'll probably be using to get back with Trusty Retriever. And then a couple of, just fun dogs. A couple of fun dogs here in the deck. We have Blink Dog, 2 and a white for a 1/1 creature dog with double strike, and then Teleport for 3 and a white. You can have Blink Dog phase out. So a little bit of built-in protection, which is pretty neat. And then the last one we're going to talk about here is Iron Mastiff. This one goes with our little sub-dice roll theme we have going. Iron Mastiff is 4 generic mana for a 4/4 artifact creature dog. Whenever Iron Mastiff attacks, roll a d20 for each player being attacked and ignore all but the highest roll. 1 through 9, Iron Mastiff deals damage equal to its power to you, so it could be bad, but hey, whatever. 10 through 19, Iron Mastiff deals damage equal to its power to a defending player. And then 20, a natural 20, Iron Mastiff deals damage equal to its power to each opponent. So 1 through 9, not great, but it's 4 damage. We can soak it up if we need to. 10 through 19 and 20 is obviously what we're shooting for here. And like with the previous Trusty Retriever, if Iron Mastiff somehow ends up in the graveyard, we can use our Trusty Retriever to get him back. Our dogs fetching other dogs. What more can we ask for? All right. Next, we're going to talk about the sorceries in the deck. The sorceries I put in here are very thematic to dogs. The instants are a bit more like actual strategies for the deck, but the sorceries I had a little fun with. So the first one we're going to talk about here is, I think I'm saying this right. I could be, I don't know. I've been calling it Circus Act. I think that's what it is. I don't know how to spell words or pronounce English words, so we're going to call it Circus Act. 2 and a red for a sorcery. Roll 3 6-sided die. For each different result, create a 1/1 white clown robot artifact creature token. So, 2 things. One, the card art here has, like, balls. Haha. Dogs love balls, right? I'm not the first person to ever make this, connection. So, there's balls in the art. Dogs love balls. Also, I figured the actual card itself is making toys for the dogs to play with. There it is. It seems pretty fitting. The next sorcery, similar to Circus Act, Clowning Around. You create 2 1/1 white clown robot artifact creature tokens. You roll a 6-sided die. If the result is equal to or less than the number of robots you control, you create a 1/1 white clown robot artifact creature token. So you're just making, again, more toys for your dogs to go play with and toss them at your enemies. And then the last sorcery we have here, which is also good just a good card, I think. It's called Rip Apart. Dogs rip things apart sometimes. Ask your shoes that are in the trash because your dog ripped them apart, or your homework, because dogs, historically love to rip apart people's homework. I don't make the rules. I just like to make thematic decks. So Rip Apart, red and a white for a sorcery. Choose one. Rip Apart deals 3 damage to target creature or planeswalker, fitting in Oathbreaker, and destroy target artifact or enchantment. Again, it does really good things, especially for these colors, but also the card's called Rip Apart. We're done here, right? All right, and then the instants, again, are more here for actual strategic gameplay. Things like Swords to Plowshares, Deflecting Palm, Chaos Warp, Boros Charm, all those things, your typical Boros color good instants, things that are going to help us progress the game, things that are going to protect us, but also the instants can contain our game ender, kind of one of the ways we want to win in this deck. So if we have a mass amount of puppies out on the battlefield, this card here, this next one, is going to be the way that we're hoping to clinch the game kind of, towards the end, and it's called And They Shall Know No Fear. This is from the Warhammer 40k precon. This is, I believe, in the Esper one. So 1 and a white, choose a creature type, in this case, dogs. Creatures you control of the chosen type get +1/+0 and gain indestructible till end of turn. So if we can amass a good amount of dogs on the battlefield and, hopefully not control the board, but have a good grasp on what our opponents have, we can then play this and then hopefully swing in with quite a big board state and try to clinch out the game, or maybe kill that last opponent, whatever we need to do. So this a little less thematic, though. Some people are afraid of dogs, so who knows? I don't know. There's fear in the title. We'll see. You know, you can't, every card can't be 100% thematic. Okay, this one's just a good card, right? All right, then our artifacts here. A lot of these are just going to be mana artifacts, things like Boros Signets, Arcane Signets, Wayfarer's Bauble, Component Pouch, things like that. Though I do have two in here, one that's thematic to the pups, and then one that's actually just a good Planeswalker card here. So first one is Clown Car. Puppies love to go for car rides, right? Everybody loves car rides, especially pups. And then, you know, if the pups don't want to go for a car ride, they're just going to go and grab a toy out of the car, which is the clown robots we're going to make. So Clown Car is an X-generic vehicle for a 1/1. When Clown Car enters the battlefield, roll X 6-sided dice. For each odd result, create a 1/1 white clown robot artifact creature token, and then for each even result, you put a 1/1 counter on Clown Car. All of our pups, for the most part, should be able to crew this. Also, the clowns that it makes potentially will crew the car as well. And we just have a decent little beater. But again, it's a car, and dogs love car rides. Again, I don't make the rules. So the last artifact we have here is Luxior Giada's Gift. This one isn't really thematic, I don't think, unless, you know, you can think of something. Please let me know in the comments. But it's just a good artifact to have for Planeswalkers, right? So equipped creature gets 1/1 for each counter on it. Equipped permanent isn't a Planeswalker, and it's a creature in addition to its other types. Equipped Planeswalker for 1, or equipped 3 for a regular creature. So we can pop this on a pup if we need to, but we're basically going to want to always put this onto Comet, so he becomes himself a good boy and can swing in. So he can do his loyalty abilities, but also he can, he can block, he can attack, he can do all the good stuff that, he's going to see his pup friends do, and he's like, yo, I want to do that too. With Luxior, we can do that. This is a good thing. And then we have a couple of enchantments to round us out. Barbarian class is going to be here for our dice rolling sub theme. So Barbarian class is a single red for a enchantment class. If you would roll 1 or more dice, instead roll that many dice plus 1 and ignore the lowest result. 1 in a red to level 2. Whenever you roll 1 or more dice, target creature you control gets +2/+0 and gains menace till end of turn. And then 2 in a red for level 3. Creatures you control have haste. Really, we just want the first ability here, the level 1 ability, to be able to roll 2 dice and ignore 1. Rolling with advantage is always something that's really good, and a few of our cards here rely on dice rolling, so just seems fitting. Then we have Starlight Spectacular. This is 2 white for an enchantment that has Parade. At the beginning of combat on your turn, choose creatures you control 1 at a time until each creature you control has been chosen. Each of those creatures gets +1/+1 till end of turn for each creature chosen before it. This is thematic because everyone likes to parade around their dogs, right? You go for walks. You want people to see your pup. You want to show them how awesome it is. So you take all the pups you have out in the battlefield, you give them a little parade, and each one gets a little bit stronger for the one before it, because dogs help each other out for the most part. Sometimes they fight, sometimes they don't. But the dog parade, everybody loves a puppy parade. Have you ever been to a puppy parade halfway through? It's not the same. You got to go. The puppy parades are amazing, start to finish. Again, I don't make the rules. All right, folks, that's it for this very thematic Oathbreaker deck. Again, is this a top tier Oathbreaker deck that's going to break the format? No. Is this a fun deck that, I'm super excited to just kind of break out at Oathbreaker night or in between Commander games? 100%. I cannot wait to show this deck off, much like I like to show my dog off. So, if this is something you enjoy, please check out the deck list in the link below. Feel free to use it yourself. It was a lot of fun to put together, and I hope to actually do more Oathbreaker decks like this with some sort of overarching theme throughout most of the cards. So if you enjoy this, make sure to keep an eye out here for more Oathbreaker videos like it. Make sure you hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. I really appreciate it. And yeah, I just appreciate you coming and checking out the video. And if you want to play Oathbreaker with me, please, I'll have my link tree in the description. Hit me up on Twitter, hit me up on Instagram, and say, hey, let's play some Oathbreaker some night. And I will 100% do that, and we'll have a good time. So you can do that, please. I want to play Oathbreaker so bad. Once again, You can find me at the Linktree link in the description at all my socials. I stream Commander every Tuesday and Thursday, and then we live deck build every Sunday over there as well. And usually on Fridays, like you're seeing here, there's a deck tech video from those live deck builds. But today I really wanted to showcase this. And then next week will be another deck tech video with Mr. Bevers coming in and showing off a deck that we built the previous Sunday. So thank you again so much for watching. As always, be good to each other. We'll see you next time. Peace.